So I always like to have an agenda. So here's what we're gonna try to get through today. We've got a ton of information. So first you're gonna meet us, the three of us, and then we're gonna do a quick activity called a waterfall. You may have done this with your students, maybe not. And then we'll hear from Edna about how Boddle is here for you. I'll talk a little bit about using Boddle in your classroom, and we'll hear from some of our Boddle users and how they use Boddle in their classrooms. And then we're going to try an activity called a Mentimeter to get some feedback from you. Next up, Edna will talk about how to get support with Boddle if and when you need it. And then after that, the big meat of the presentation, Clarence is going to go over our brand new teacher dashboard and some really awesome new game features as well. Towards the end, we'll give you or show you some resources that you can use to share Boddle with other teachers, with your students, and with parents. And then at the end, we'll close it out with some Q&A session.
All right, I guess I am first up in for introductions. My name is Clarence Tan. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. I am the CEO and co-founder of Boddle, and my background came from education and game design. So I've been designing educational games for the past 9 years, 12 of which my years have been in game design as in total. I'm really in love with the intersection between gaming and education. And quick fun fact, Edna and she will introduce herself later, but we're married co-founders.
Perfect. And on to me. Hi, everyone. So excited to spend this time with you. Thanks for joining us for this. Happy new school year. My name is Edna Martinson, co-founder of Boddle Learning. Also married to Clarence, like he mentioned. And yeah, excited to just share what we've been building over the summer and to hear from you guys as well. It's good to see familiar names and faces in here. Hi, Carly, Kevin, Campana. I know you from Twitter, so I feel like we know each other. So yeah, super excited that you all are here.
Thanks, Edna. And I'm Erica Brunmeyer. I work on the marketing and social media side as well as the ambassador program. And I'm actually a former classroom teacher. I taught 3rd grade, 5th grade, and 7th grade math and science before I joined the Boddle team. So really happy to be here in your presence. I miss dearly certain aspects of teaching, and just being here with you all, I feel a cool energy already. So I'm really excited to be here and get started. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about how we've seen some educators use Boddle in their classrooms, and just kind of give you, some ideas. We're all here together to learn from each other, and so I just wanted to share with you a couple that we have seen come in. So one way that teachers can use Boddle within their classroom is centers or rotations or stations, or however you want to say it. I love doing this in my math class because I could have kids who needed to focus on one skill work together. I could work one-on-one with a student, and I could have students over here doing maybe some review work for a test or something like that. So one way that teachers use Boddle is in their station, rotation, and centers. Click next, thank you. Another thing that Boddle is great for in the classroom is differentiation, that hot topic buzzword. That's super, super important for our students, because as you all know, as educators, right, we have kiddos who might be struggling with a particular skill. We have kids that just need to keep practicing that skill, and we have kids that are like, hey, I got that skill, give me the next one. So Boddle is really great for utilizing as a differentiation tool, so you can meet your kids where they are. And next. Yes, and Boddle can also be used as review, preparation for an assessment, and then when, of course, that state testing comes around, really good review for that as well. So this teacher used Boddle for review work before their state assessment. It's always way more fun than the worksheet. And then also for practice at home, one question that I would always get at parent-teacher conferences is like, what can I do at home? How can I help at home? And this is actually from a homeschool parent who utilizes Boddle at home because they heard about it through a school. So Boddle's great to, assign for practice at home. Kids can log in at home and they still have fun while they're practicing math.
Okay, next is we want to talk about support. Just so you know where to access support. If you log into your teacher portal, maybe you've used this before already, but you'll notice there is a little chat icon We want you to be able to use that whenever you run into any issues or have any questions, or would like additional, ways that you can use Boddle in your class, like message us on that. And then in addition to that, this summer, we completely did over the support page and included some frequently asked questions. We included guides and videos for those. So if you go onto the Boddle website and under like either teacher or parent tab, you'll see support there, and you'll be able to search up, if there's a specific thing you're looking for, you'll be able to search there and see if we have a guide or video for it.
All right, awesome. Well, the moment we've been waiting for, the reason why we're doing this is obviously back to school, but we made a lot of updates. You might have seen some of them already. And so I'd like to show you what the teacher's dashboard looks like, as well as what the new game part looks like. Kind of like Edna and Erica has already mentioned, we couldn't have done any of this without you. It's all purely based on your feedback. So please do reach out to us if you guys have suggestions or changes. The update just went out. We had a couple of hiccups earlier on this week on Monday when we do have the update. So if there are issues, please do reach out to us, or if there are things that you don't like about the update, please let us know as well so that we can work on it and fix it for you guys. But I'm gonna switch over to my screen right now to take a look at the new teacher portal and to walk through it together. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can. As you're logging into this, I just want to flag a message that was sent is, can we discuss how the placement reports are determined? So just keep that in mind, Clarence, as you're going through the teacher portal.
Okay, all right, sounds good. All right, so the first thing about the, let me let someone in the room first. Okay, there we go. So the first thing that's changed, you can tell that the whole look has changed quite a bit. Oh, I put in the wrong password. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so the whole look has changed quite a bit. We've made it a lot cleaner. You see a lot more white, and everything is built into tiles. I think it was before as well. First thing to note is when you log in, and if you've already used it last year, all of your classroom settings can be found on this little gear icon. But as you can tell, the look is a lot newer. When you create a new classroom, again, like as usual, you can import your classroom through Google or Clever. Very similar functions as what it was before. But what you do see that's new is there's this new tab called English. It might be locked on your side. We are doing a pilot demo with ELA. We currently launched kindergarten and first grade. When you do click on it, you might be required to refer 3 other teachers to unlock it. We do plan on unlocking a grade every 2 to 3 weeks. That's the goal. So we'll have second grade out soon. And yeah, that's kind of like what the new changes look like. When you click into a classroom, you can see that all your reports are now filtered by math. And then if you have ELA unlocked, you can click on that and it will flip all the way to ELA as well. And by the way, if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to add it in the chat and Edna will flag me down and I can address it right then and there. The other thing is we used to use class codes a lot. We found that for some kids, it was a little bit confusing in terms of where to find the class code. So now we actually have this new feature called the invite link. So if you just click on that, it'll give you this link. And if you just copy and paste it on Google Classrooms or Seesaw or some other, parent-teacher or teacher-student communication tool, you can just send it right there and kids can just sign up and directly join your classroom through that link. Yes, and one quick thing to note too, in the main dashboard, there are 2 more things. The first thing is if you want to add a co-teacher, you can do that by clicking on add a co-teacher button on the right side. And a lot of times this is one of like the biggest feedback we get is like, hey, I want to try out the game first. There's actually this preview game button. So if you want to check out the game and you're on a computer or a laptop, you just press the preview game button. It will lead you directly into the game with your very own teacher account. All right, so that's the main dashboard changes. You can see it's quite a bit like wider open. So you're very similar to what it was before placement test. Results are here, which I'll cover in a little bit. Classroom dashboard and the assignments are all available on the first page. I'll walk through the student tab next. So this is the students page. You might be like, oh no, everything is all different. All the kids are in little tiles right now. But don't worry, if you like the previous look better, you can click on the 3 dots and the 3 lines, and it'll change the view to where it was before. So it's one of those, like whichever you prefer. And you can sort it by first name and last initial now too. And on both modes, if you click into a student, you can actually manage all their username, passwords, and all that kind of stuff there. If you want to change your grade, you can also do it here instead of having to use the other tool. So if you just want to change it for one student, everything can be accessed here. Quick tidbit is in about, I would say less than a month, that's our goal, but in about a month or so, we're going to be doing a pilot for Spanish translations. And so if you're wondering where to find that, it would be down here. So if you have, ELL, ESL students that would like the questions to show up in Spanish, there will be a toggle right under the view reports button, just in case we don't have another webinar by the time that feature comes out. So just, keep your eyes peeled for the little toggle on the bottom here. Oh yeah, quick note too. This is also where you remove a student from the classroom if you're trying to do that. All right, so here you can see the big question is placement tests. Really quick note, when you load your kids in and you get them playing, by default, if you don't create any assignments, we automatically run a placement test. It takes we made it a little bit more rigorous. So now it's going to be, before it was about 20 questions, now it's going to be closer to 30 to 40 questions before they finish a placement test. You can't preview the placement test questions beforehand because the way the placement test works is it uses a bit of AI to find, based on how they answered questions, we will find the next best question. So it's going to be dynamic for every single student. Students don't have to finish the placement test before you can assign work, right? So let's say if you just taught fractions and your kids got on and you see a placement test, anytime you create an assignment, it will override the placement test until the assignment is done, and then it'll go back to the placement test. And then once the placement test is done, by default, it would automatically go into like a slower but still adaptive mode that gets kids to practice more on one skill. The placement test is a little bit more rapid fire, right? You answer a couple questions, we kind of mark you as like you understood that you've already mastered that skill, versus the placement test is a little bit more rapid fire, so that we can get kids, a very good guess in terms of whether or not they're at the right level. But speaking of which, if you feel that, either kids have like cheated or they asked their friends or they guessed through and you don't think that the placement test is accurate, if you scroll down now, if you click on reports, it's going to go to the progress report, which is the placement test results. There should be a little like blue circle next to the placement test results now. So if you just click on that, you can reset the placement test and it'll go back. So if you don't like the results or you think it's not accurate, you can just reset it again. What we did see was because right before schools closed, we launched a new pet battle game, and kids really wanted to get all the questions right. They started, asking friends, or they started asking parents to get the questions right for them, and then they placed really, really high on the placement test. So if you don't think it's accurate, use this refresh tool. So if you click on a student, for example, and if it's under all time, now learning gaps for that individual student would automatically show up under that student. So it's under the progress report versus the learning gaps report. And then you just have to click on the student's name, and then all the learning gaps will show up there, as well as all of the skills they've mastered within that time frame. And so that's the other change that we made to the progress report, because I think in addition to letting teachers know what score their kids are at, what skills they've mastered within a certain time frame and within a certain, I guess, what gaps has appeared too. The other thing to note, we were super excited about launching this in May, but then I don't think it really received that much use. Is, let's say if you wanted to benchmark your students in the last 3 months, for example, you can actually click on this custom button now and choose 2 time frames. So I could maybe say, hey, from here, December to March last year. I don't think any data would show up, but if you press OK, you would actually see, well, there's no data here, but you would actually see the blue bar as well as a green bar. So you can see the growth that a student has received between those 2 time dates. So if you click on that custom date, that's what you can use it for. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you all and update you on is the way assignments show up. I've already received feedback in the past 2 days that a lot of teachers prefer the old view, seeing the assignments in little rows versus having tiles. But this is what the assignments look like right now. I'll show you the small differences in terms of creating an assignment. What we had noticed last time was a lot of teachers would create assignments and then they would have to flip from page to page. Now, when you create an assignment, it's all in one page. So you have to type in the assignment title here. We did get feedback today. A teacher said they want it to be pre-filled with the date again. So we will do that as in our next update. And now the way you create an assignment is very, I would say it's simpler. You just have to click on the skills you want to put in your assignment. And then if you want to remove them, just press the X button and then select the students you want to assign to the assignment, very similar to the previous one, but you don't have to go next page. And then you can select parameters. So right now it's number of questions, whether you want it to be in random or in sequence. In sequence meaning it would go with this skill first and this skill next and this skill last. Versus right now it's going to do it randomly. We did remove assignments by time, just because we were looking at our data and saw that less than 1% of teachers actually use timed assignments. A lot of them like to either schedule it for a later date or they would do it by number of questions. So we removed that function for now, unless we get a lot of feedback saying, hey, we want that back, but we haven't seen a lot of usage on that. And then once the assignment is created, we do have a notification letting you know that these students have not finished the placement test. So we just give you a small warning saying, hey, if you create an assignment, it will override the placement test. When the placement test is done, it will go back to the, when the assignment is done, it will go back to the placement test. So you can just click continue and create assignment. All right. So that's how you would create assignments. Again, placement test by default. If you don't create an assignment, our adaptive engine automatically tailors content to students. And then if you do create an assignment, it overrides the placement test temporarily until the assignment is done. It looks identical in terms of the results in the assignment. I only have one student right now, but you can see it's identical to what it was before back in May. The other thing to note is, okay, this is, I feel like we get this question a lot. This game locks feature. So I'm going to turn this off right now. And so we are going to continue to make Boddle very engaging. A lot of times there may be features like, the home environment where kids are running around and, playing with their furniture, or they go into the shop or wardrobe and start customizing their characters. A lot of times, if kids are in the classroom, teachers, you guys want them to work on the math problems. So there is this this feature called game locks, right? So it's under the dashboard and you can turn it on and off. And then if you click on this little 3-line icon, the settings icon, you can customize your own game lock. And so what it does is, depending on parameters, it will lock out certain features in the game until the parameters that you want are complete. So for this example, I would say if you're doing like rotations, for example, you say, hey, if you're done with this, let's for the next 15 minutes, you're going to focus on math problems. And then after 15 minutes, you can go free play, or you can do it by the number of questions. So for example, for the next 10 questions, we're going to lock out all the other features first. You go next. and then select the students you want to lock out. I'm going to select every single one right now. And then you can choose what to lock out. By default, this is what we recommend. We recommend locking out the shop, home, customization, and the buddy list. We typically don't recommend locking out pet battles or the arcade because it's really fun, but kids still have to work on math problems to play these game modes. So this is the default. If you want to lock it out, you can select those two and just press save. All right, so when you do that now, for all these kids, you can see how many questions they've actually done, and the game modes would lock out for the students. So I'll show you what that looks like on the game side. All right, awesome. Okay, so now that we have English, when kids log on, they're gonna, if they have more than one subject, they're gonna receive this prompt like, what would you like to learn? So now you can see that there's math and there's English as well. You can see that this student account has the features locked because I locked it earlier with game locks. So this is what it looks like. If they try to go to the backpack, for example, it will say, hey, it's locked, get 10 questions correct to unlock it. One quick thing to note, they don't have to be outside the feature before you can lock it. So let me turn it off. If I turn it off, you can see that it's now unlocked, right? I can go into the backpack. I'm just like a lot of students would, they would just be in here browsing their items. And anytime you want, you can just lock them out by turning the locks on. And then it kicks them out of the locked features. Okay, so that's the first note. The second note is we have a couple additions to the game side. Let me turn this off really quick. The first change is a lot of teachers, and I guess students as well, want to see their own progress. So we added this, the placement test is not done yet, which is why this is not unlocked. Let me go to this course. We added this progress button. So this lets students see how they're progressing through their own curriculum. So here you can see number sense is broken down by different domains. And if they click into it, they can see it's kind of like Duolingo, right? You can see a different like paths. Lesson 4 is addition to determine even and odd numbers, and they can click in and they can practice a skill. One quick thing to note, even though they can look at their own progress, we still don't tell them what grade it is in. The only reason why it says grade 2 here is because that's the classroom name. So if you don't have the grade as a classroom name, if a kid is, working on unfinished learning, or if they're ahead, they still won't see their grade level. All right, so the other thing, and I guess one of the most exciting things is you can see the arcade button is no longer there. All we have is this one big green button. So if you click into this now, all of the game modes, we were trying to build this like gamified education Netflix library. So now all of the games are under this one page. So you can see the pet battle games are here, and then the arcade games are here, and then the normal quiz mode is on the far left. Something to note is we just unlocked a new stage for the pet battles, but also when we launched pet battles in May, you would have to be a friend of another player in order to battle them. We made this player versus player mode. It's a matchmaking mode to where when a player clicks or a student clicks on that, they will match against a random player, whether they're in the same country or all around the world. There's no chatting, so it just matches another player who had pressed player versus player at the same time. And if they're around the same level, they get a match with each other. So they don't have to go through adding each other on the buddy list. And if they win a lot, they get a little ranking for it. So it's a very fun tool for kids to, enjoy multiplayer without having to add friends or have a huge classroom.
Yes, and I do want to reiterate again, there is no chatting. We know how toxic that can become. So kids can't chat with each other, but they can match and play against different players as they're going through their math content.
All right, and then I think the last thing to highlight on the game side, I'm going to refresh the game to kind of show you what that looks like, is every time a kid logs in now, we have a prompt that says, are you playing at home or in school? There really isn't very much difference whether you're playing at home or in school. The only difference is that we just released paid subscriptions that are for parents to purchase if they want additional rewards for their kids on the Battle Pass. So just a quick highlight on what that is. We have this Battle Pass thing on the bottom left. So as kids finish objectives, like answer 25 questions correctly, they get EXP and points, or if they defeat other players. So this randomizes, so they have like an objective board in the game. When they finish these objectives, they get experience points that level them through this rewards list, right? So level 1, you get this common box. Level 2, you can see level 3, they get the watermelon helmet and all this kind of cool stuff. This is a paid account, so I guess maybe I'll log into another account to show you the difference. Here, let me go into this one. Okay, so if I'm playing at home, all right, so for Boddle, kids all have access to the bottom track for free. If the parents buy a subscription, they get the additional rewards up top. Even though they unlock it, it does not mean that they automatically get all these items. They still would have to earn through the Battle Pass. So it's one of those, we feel better about this because kids, even though they pay for it, they still have to learn to earn, right? Which is something that is really important to us. All right, so I clicked the home version. The only difference is that if I clicked in school, there's no way for me to buy the subscription, right? So if I click, this is the paid version, it will say, hey, you get premium, you get this. If I click at home, they get to choose the payment option. If I click on the school option, that won't be available. So it will just be locked out. So when you are getting your kids to use Boddle in school, we highly recommend you to tell them to click on the school option. But if they don't, if they click on the home option by accident, there is no difference unless they somehow magically have a credit card on hand, right? So yeah, that's the main difference, right? So if you look here now, click on activate, it will say play at home to learn more, and they literally can't buy the subscription when they're playing at school. Those are the main differences. Okay, anything I'm missing, Edna, on the game and update side?
No, I think you've covered a lot of it. That assignments as well is just there. It's better visibility for students to know that they have an assignment pending. And yeah, we're excited. We're excited for your students to get into all the new features.
Yes, so we have, and this is actually on the new teacher dashboard update as well, the resources, but we have one-sheeter PDFs that we've created so that you can share Boddle with other educator friends to just sort of like, if they've never heard of it before, it's like a quick, one-stop, what is it, how does it work? We also have a one-sheeter that you can send to your admin if they're curious, or if perhaps they're like, well, I need to like see what it looks like first. And we also have a guest teacher one-sheeter so that if you have to be out, you can just put this in your sub plans and your substitute teacher will be able to do Boddle with your students. We also have some slides that you can share with your students to help them get started with Boddle as well. So again, you can email me and I'm happy to send you, this is in a Google Drive folder that I can send out to you, but it's also on the teacher portal as well.
Awesome. And now we're going to open it up for Q&A, open chat. You can type in the chat or you can unmute. Darling had a really great suggestion, Clarence. For future, can you create an interclass/school battle? Her kids love competition, or like a battle across schools, which I think is pretty awesome.
That sounds amazing. I'll see if we can figure out a way to do it. There's a little bit of logistical nightmare there to get all of them on at the same time, but if we can pull it off, I feel like it would be amazing.
Awesome. The last thing that I have is, thank you all so much for joining us. A big part of how Boddle is growing is through educators. And so we'd love for you to, continue to share Boddle with other teachers and parents in your network as well. And we love it whenever teachers tweet about how they're using Boddle, share it on TikTok, on Instagram. That's always really great to chat with folks that way as well. Or if you ever have any questions for us too, always feel free to reach out. to us directly, Erica Boddle, Edna at Boddle, Clarence at Boddle.learning.com, or on the live chat feature.